Can certain probiotics actually improve your hormone health? Yes, and today we're going to talk about certain strains that have been tested to help correct hormonal imbalance. Stay tuned to learn more. For the best information on balancing your gut and hormone health, hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Friday. I'm Dr. Shelley Meyer. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, a functional medicine doctor, and a family practice doctor. And on this channel, I talk about gut and hormone health. I help motivated women and men reclaim their hormone health, reclaim their vitality, and rediscover the magic of feeling well. So today we are focusing on different types of probiotics and what those probiotics can do to help a hormonal imbalance. So when you hear about probiotics, you hear often about Lactobacillus or Bifidus. There's also Bacillus and some other groups like that aren't really probiotics, like Saccharomyces boulardii, which is actually a yeast, but it can be very beneficial. But we're not going to focus on those today. We're focusing mostly on the Bifido and the Lactobacillus strains. So let's start with Lactobacillus. First, though, let's talk about what hormone imbalance might mean. So that would mean, like, for example, an estrogen dominance that we've talked about. And I'll link a video above where I talk about estrogen dominance. That means when your estrogen outweighs your progesterone. So conversely, you can have a hormone imbalance picture where you have low progesterone. Also, you could have low estrogen, like in the example of menopause or perimenopause, or just when you're approaching the menopause time frame, you can have some low estrogen. Also, you could have elevated testosterone or low testosterone. So most of the time when men are symptomatic, it's going to be from low testosterone, not necessarily a high testosterone state. Women can be symptomatic from either too high of a testosterone state like PCOS, or they can be symptomatic from too low of a testosterone. Believe it or not, women do need a certain level of testosterone for hair, for good hair growth, for their libido, for their muscle, the ability to build muscle and lose fat. So we do need testosterone as women. So Lactobacillus is a broad group of probiotic bacteria that can be beneficial, particularly the whole broad group itself can be beneficial when we talk about those hormone imbalances. So the whole broad group of Lactobacillus can be beneficial for balancing your menstrual cycle, normalizing it. If you have irregular periods, that you are missing a period, you're skipping periods quite often, you can take a Lactobacillus group of Lactobacillus strains, and those can help regulate your period. You might need more than that, but it just shows you the gut and the hormone connection. Also, they've found that broad strains of Lactobacillus can also decrease PCOS symptoms, meaning they can help to lower testosterone. A lot of times when women have PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome, they can have excess testosterone, meaning they can get hair growth that's darker on their right here, kind of like a mustache, on their arms here. And they also have irregular periods quite often, and sometimes have trouble getting pregnant. So Lactobacillus group can help with that, help regulate the periods, help decrease the testosterone, help improve PCOS symptoms. So let's talk about some individual strains of Lactobacillus that can be helpful for certain hormone imbalance patterns. So Lactobacillus gasseri in animal models has been shown to decrease ectopic growth of estrogen-based tissue. So basically we're talking about improving something like endometriosis. Now these are in animal models, but they have found Lactobacillus gasseri can decrease endometriosis in animal models. So basically it's an estrogen dominance driven picture. And remember, I referred to estrogen dominance as too high of estrogen and too low of progesterone. So you can take something with a decent amount of this type of strain, and that could potentially help your estrogen dominance picture. Let's talk about Lactobacillus reuteri. This one has been studied in menopausal mouse model studies and has been shown to prevent bone loss from low estrogen. So in cases like osteoporosis, Lactobacillus reuteri may be helpful. Also, they did find, I forgot to say that Lactobacillus gasseri also helped with maintaining a normal body weight. And that is very important. Having a normal body weight is very important for hormonal balance. So there may also be future studies to show us that you, even just for weight loss in general, Lactobacillus gasseri might be helpful. But you can see how the hormones, because when you have excess body fat, you have excess estrogen. So you have that estrogen dominance picture. So it's all coming together there with Lactobacillus gasseri being helpful. Lactobacillus reuteri on the flip side being helpful for a side effect of low estrogen, which would be bone loss or osteoporosis. So if you're menopausal, you're experiencing bone loss or osteoporosis, you could try a probiotic with a decent amount of Lactobacillus reuteri in it. Also, they did find Lactobacillus reuteri was helpful in male mice in increasing their sperm count and having anti-aging qualities for male mice. Hard to know how you can really tell that with mice, but they did do studies based on their sperm count and some of their sexual abilities and things like that were improved with Lactobacillus reuteri. So let's talk about Lactobacillus acidophilus. You see that strain quite often, almost in any multi-strain probiotic that has a lot of lactobacillus in it. You're usually going to see acidophilus in it. Now, some people don't tolerate Lactobacillus acidophilus okay, or they don't tolerate it well. So you'd want to take that into consideration. But in one of my most recent videos, I did talk about the hormonal gut, and the key piece I talked about was beta-glucuronidase. So what Lactobacillus acidophilus can do is lower that beta-glucuronidase. And why that's important is in estrogen dominance or in poor detoxification. So you're not getting the estrogen out, you're not packaging up and getting it out of your system. You're having the effects of having excess estrogen in your system, which could even lead to increased risks of breast cancer or any kind of estrogen stimulated cancer. So beta-glucuronidase, it's important to lower that, and one way you can lower that is with Lactobacillus acidophilus. So let's talk about the other big type of probiotic that you usually see is the bifidocultures. So bifidocultures are important for many different parts of our health system, parts of our body to keep it healthy. Immune system, nervous system. So the link we see between bifido strains and our hormones are when women get pregnant, they tend to make a bigger abundance of bifidocultures. And that's important. So when the baby goes through the vaginal canal as being born, it's exposed to all those different bacteria and cultures and probiotics that help keep that baby's systems running smoothly and healthily. And that's why you see a better microbiome in a baby born vaginally than via C-section. So on the flip side, if we have low progesterone, we may then have low abundance and low diversity of our bifidocultures and low amounts of our bifido. So if you have a low progesterone, which can happen when you have estrogen dominance, often you have low progesterone because it's suppressing it. So when you have estrogen dominance, you can then have not as great of a bifido abundance in your microbiome. So that's something to think about as well. So I hope this helped. I have a PDF that you can check out as to more of the individual benefits of different strains of probiotics. You just have to go to drshellymeyer.com. I have a lot of helpful PDFs there for hormone health and gut health and all different kinds of gene health type things that relate to your hormones and different nutrition tips as well. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next Friday to talk more about gut health and hormone health.